DB Day brought to you by Jack.
That's right.
Bishop, Zagura. There's a motto of one of the great organizations in the world of don't give up the ship.
That's right.
And I think as we have been through, we're in the middle of this week, and we talk about the incredible ebbs and flows of NFL games. And we talked earlier this week about welcome to the NFL, that on any given Sunday, we're now back in the NFL this year, that any given Sunday comes down to a missed call or there, a missed play or there, a missed field goal or there. As it is Steelers week, I think an appropriate motto is don't give up the ship. And one thing that this team has not done under Hugh Jackson, and there are those who are critical, certainly, and the record is what the record is, and Hugh would acknowledge that, but I've never seen an ounce of quit in any of his football teams. And it's something that I think will play well this weekend in Pittsburgh. Do you get out of there with a win? I'm not certain about that, but I do think that you will get 100% effort out of your Cleveland Browns on a Sunday. A young Browns team that is starting 6 rookies, I continue to emphasize, provided they all get out of this week healthy. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, and I think you make some very good points. The Seas have been angry right there, but they are plowing right through the Browns, going out there trying to get what would be a huge win in Pittsburgh, something that frankly has not happened in many a moon, Mr. Bishop, as you go back and you look.
Did you hear the stat on Baker?
No.
I think he was 8 years old the last time we went over there.
The last time the Browns won in Pittsburgh was the year 2003.
Yeah, I think he was 8 years old.
The year 2003. So obviously you're trying to do something you have not done in a long time. And no, of course there's going to be no quit. Obviously this week I think has been even more tumultuous, just the way that news is handled, the way the news is translated and then disseminated. That I think it's been a trying week for the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Hugh Jackson. And, hopefully he can have and his team can have the kind of response we all want, which would be a win out there in Pittsburgh against this Steeler football team that is starting to play very, very well.
They are. You and I were talking earlier in the week. They are a team that they're in that next group with the Chargers and with the Vikings,
yes,
and that are knocking on the door of the Big Four. That's kind of where they are. They seem to have their ship in order, if you will. I've talked to Benny. I do have family members and some friends who are Steelers fans, unfortunately, and it's rough. But one thing that we talk about it's a lot of like what we've seen recently with Ohio State and Michigan, and that is that they want to a certain extent, they want us back too. The idea being, if you're Ohio State, Michigan, if you can permit me to use that analogy, is that for it to be the greatest rivalry in all of sports, which that one is very often called, at some point Michigan has to win a little bit. And the same is true of us. This was one of the great rivalries in the NFL, Browns and Steelers, for many, many years. And for it to get back to that point, we got close. We got a tie in the opener in a game that we felt like we should have won. And so for this to be one of the great rivalries in the National Football League, where it's chock full of great rivalries, we've got to do our part. And we've got to start winning. And you can tell based on what is happening. There's a rookie of week that's handed out every single week in the NFL. We've won it, I think, 6 times, and we've had somebody nominated every week, and we do again this week with Baker. So obviously we're on the come where it comes to chasing the Steelers, but you've got to get over that thing, and you'll be going up against long odds in the game on Sunday, but you can tell that the tide is starting to turn in our direction.
Well, you want it to, but it will not turn in our direction until you beat them consecutively. The Browns have not beaten them in consecutive games since the end of the 99 season and the start of the 2000 season.
For people of a certain age, that's so hard, I'm sure, to wrap your head around, like if you remember the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s.
Since the second game of 2003, okay, and remember, these teams play each other twice a year. The Browns have 3 wins. So if you want a rivalry, you have to go out there and make it a rivalry by winning. There's no such thing. While some might speculate that the Harlem Globetrotters and the Washington Generals were a rivalry in the sense that they played each other often, It was not a rivalry because the Globetrotters were going to win.
I played against the Globetrotters once.
It's a cool story. I know you did.
It's brutal. No, what was funny is the guys who played against the Globetrotters were like so disinterested in the entire show. Like they hated it. They hated the guys who played for the Globetrotters that I played on this team. It was like they were smoking cigarettes in the locker room. Like, let's just get out of here. And let's just
they didn't enjoy it?
No, they hated it.
Why?
They hated because it wasn't about them. They got to play hard for like the second and the second end of the first and into the start of the second quarter, and then end of the third, into the fourth. But the rest of the time, like they had to get clowned, and like they wanted to try to beat the Globetrotters. Like they didn't understand the game. I was like, "Do you guys understand
This
what
is performance art,
right?" They just came here for sweet Georgia Brown.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about you idiots hitting threes. Like, come on, what are you doing?
Right.
But they were so bothered by it.
That's hilarious.
It's really quite hilarious. All right, we get into the OBM Hot Topics. Ohio Business Machine, preferred copier provider of the Cleveland Browns. Of all the X's and O's for your office, call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. The injuries are what the injuries are. Looking more very obviously, no Schobert, no Hollywood, no Gaines for Sunday. Anything else from an injury standpoint that you're seeing, sir?
Yeah, Demarius Randall has not practiced this week, and I think that is massive. Now, Hugh Jackson said in his press conference today that even though Randall didn't practice today and even though J.C. Tretter didn't practice today, he expects both to be able to play on Sunday. But Demarius Randall, even if he plays at this point, you have to consider him less than 100%. Now, nobody's 100% in the NFL, but you'd have to consider him significantly below what the average person out there in the secondary is. And when you're going against Juju Smith-Schuster and Antonio Brown, and he's going to – I talked about how big he was for us last week, sliding down the corner. For him to be as banged up as it appears that he is, that's a big concern. To me, that is a monstrous concern because, as I said, in week one, you were able to hang in that game and survive in that game and stay close to the Steelers because they didn't crush you via the pass. This week, with that injury, with no Gaines, with no Mitchell, you are thin and putting yourself in a position where you could be very susceptible to their pass attack, which I think could make this game get a little bit out of hand if that's the case. If Randall is not able to cover,
I think we're going to have. That looks like
we're
getting
going to be
so
tough.
thin. I don't even know what that starts to look like if that's the case.
It's not looking great. It's not looking great.
No, that would be an enormous loss. Obviously, he's been one of the more valuable players on this football team. His versatility, we saw what he did in the opener. We saw what he did last week. That's not somebody that you can just plug and play.
If he isn't able to go, let's just say that he's not able to go, you're going to have to play a cornerback who has of yet not played a snap for you at cornerback. Tavier Thomas would have to play cornerback for you because that would knock out – you'd end up putting Jabril back at free safety, Kindred at strong safety, Body in the slot, carry outside, or you're going to have Body at free safety, keep Jabril where he's playing well at strong safety, and then you bring in Tavier Thomas, who has thus far only played special teams for you, all of a sudden playing corner for you against this team. That, to me, sounds like a very dicey proposition.
I was in a pretty good mood until that.
This
starts
is
to become reality. And it's a Thursday. We're a ways away, but he's not. It'd be very slim that he would be a 100%.
Well, no
one's 100%.
Right, but I mean,
yeah,
he's less
some variation of that. Yeah,
the variation that we're used to in terms of where these guys are in the National Football League. This, to me, is a very, very big issue, and this is why this game could, in my opinion, end up getting a little bit dicey because you might not have the ability to match up with this team. You just might not have the ability to cover with this team, and I think that, if you're the Browns, has to be something that is very, very concerning going into this game.
All right, very good. Hold on just a second. Gibbs is writing things. Oh, very good. Well, let's do that. We'll do that right now. Gibbsy. Just produce this on the fly.
We're producing on the fly. This is TV magic that they're
TV.
seeing right here. The good thing was we got the stream going for the TV.
Nick, come on in. Have a seat. Nick Chubb walking in. Nick is, of course, very good. And this is cocktail party week. It's Florida, Georgia.
Dogs gonna win.
Dogs are going to win. What is that? That Florida's wearing the all-white uniforms. You weren't there when you guys broke out the black in that game, were you?
I was not.
You were not there, yeah. This is a big one. This is where does this one sit for you guys? Is this the rivalry game for the Georgia Bulldogs? Gator Week?
I think they're making it more than what it is because Georgia lost to LSU and Florida beat LSU, but I think we're going to blow them out.
You're going to blow them out? Yeah. What did it feel like for you as a player? Was Florida the team you wanted to beat most on the schedule?
It was, but, they got the best of us when I was there. I'm 1-3 against them.
1-3 against the Gators. Everything good? All right, we're good? Okay, very good.
There you go. There
All
it
right.
is.
What did it feel like getting the? You had mentioned that you were surprised by the trade of Carlos. What did it feel like making that trip, knowing that it was going to be a heavy dose of you, knowing you're ready for it, but knowing that you were going to be the bell cow back on the game against the Buccaneers?
Yeah, man. Like you said, I thought it was a shock. Just Friday afternoon, everyone getting the word and seeing that he was traded, and he went through the whole week. He started running back, of course, and got all the reps, got all the snaps, and all the everything a running back does. And then all of a sudden, it's me. I'm the guy, and it was, I don't know. For a minute, I don't know what I was thinking. It was just like, dang, I got to be ready. I got to know what I'm doing. I got to know all my assignments and be ready to play.
Was it a little bit of sleepless night on Saturday? A lot of excitement knowing that this was going to be your first NFL start?
Yeah, it was a little excitement, but it was more nervousness because, it's just been a while. You go through the week thinking you're going to be a backup, and then all of a sudden you're in a whole game.
How weird is it? And I know you were in a committee situation in Georgia, but you were still the man. You were the man down there, you and Sony. Going from that, and then you come in the NFL, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, you're a backup now. Isn't it more natural, or were you more comfortable going into a game knowing you were going to be the guy?
Yeah, just definitely when I got to the game and got there, this is what I've been doing my entire football career. But before that, I'm like, it's been a while since I've had to do it, so I was just nervous. It's just been too long before I was to start running back. But it all came natural when I got on the field.
18 carries, 80 yards, a touchdown, another touchdown for you. So how did you think when you went back and watched tape, how did you think you did in your first start?
Yeah, I did good. It starts up front with those big guys up there, and they're working extremely hard and big and physical guys and opening up holes. And after that, I just try to make them look good with the yards after.
Nick, you were one of 4 rookies who started in the game against the Bucs on offense alone. Obviously, what did you all you guys come in together? And I'm sure there's a brotherhood a little bit with all you kind of in this thing together. Did you even take notice of that, or at this point in the season, do you feel like almost nobody's a rookie, or were you aware of all these guys who all came in at the same time, all starting on a Sunday?
A little bit of both. I know we all are rookies, but Desmond, Callaway, and Baker, they've been playing so much. It's not like they're rookies, and same for me. Just doing my job on the field it's like almost the midway point. So we're like NFL players now, not really a rookie mindset. So we got to get that out of our mind, just play like we've been playing for a long time.
Is it helpful that it is with Baker, since you got so many reps with him in training camp, that it's almost kind of what you were used to going into this week?
Yeah, kind of. I was good with Tyrod too. I think
Obviously.
Both of those guys did a great job, at quarterback position. Definitely helping me out a lot.
So this is your first week carrying the mail against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, you know what this rivalry means here in this town. How excited are you to get out there and go against the gold and black of the Steelers?
I'm really excited. Looking forward to another game with my team. We got to, keep making progress and get better.
Nick, you have this ability that not a whole lot of people have, to where it appears that you are running at full speed, and then you can shift into another gear. Are you must be cognizant of it. What does it feel like to be able to have that ability? Because you see a lot of backs in the league, a lot of people have a flat end speed that's high. You have a high, and then there's a little bit more where you shift into another gear. Has it always been that way for you?
I guess. I don't know. Just.
Do you get caught from behind much? Even go back to Georgia, it seems you got caught much.
Yeah, sometimes I got caught before.
You're a fast man, though. That's when I remember Alonzo Highsmith came in here and said Jamal Lewis. That was who he.
Yeah, I remember
the
that.
Power, the speed, and certainly it looks that way. I know you no longer wear the 31 out there, but that was a pretty apt comparison, I think, at that time, and everybody was excited to see what you did out there. When you go back after a game in the NFL, this is your biggest workload in the NFL. Does it feel the same as coming after a Saturday in the SEC, or? How physically, what was it like your first game start and really carrying the load, getting hit? You run the ball 18 times, you're getting hit 18 times in the NFL.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a difference. I was still sore, but like in college too, with the same here. Just the recovery methods we have, it's like unbelievable. So I just take care of my body, just keep it up to shape, and I feel good.
All right, so I have to ask you a question. My good friend Alex Brownstein founded the Grindhouse Burger franchise in Georgia. One of my fraternity brothers was in my wedding. He's loving it. So he said you are a huge fan
love it.
of Grindhouse. So what would you, when you went in there, what would be your order? And they have one obviously in Athens, but they have a bunch around Atlanta. If you're ever in the Atlanta airport, there are a bunch of
what's the
Grindhouse.
setup there? What's the
Good
what's
burgers,
the theme?
good shakes, fries, and then they've got great cocktails as well for those who are
The
of age.
Inclined, yeah.
The grindhouse sauce. Oh my god! I mean, yeah.
What's a grindhouse sauce?
It's just like the special sauce they make.
It's the special sauce, brother.
I know. What do you think? I'm just curious. Like, what's the basis of it? Is it a barbecue? Is it a?
Nah, it's like more of a tangy kind of
Okay,
sauce.
all right.
It's good though.
I'll find out. I will get the
What's
answer
the
to
order?
that. What do you get? What was your order
I
at
get the same
Grindhouse?
thing every time.
That's what he said.
I get the double beef, American cheese, lettuce, tomato, onion, just basic like that. And I get a fries. I get extra grindhouse sauce, and I get a vanilla milkshake every single time.
Every single time, same
Every
thing.
single time.
Is that something you miss being up here?
That's my first stop in about a week.
That's going to be your first stop when you go down there. Is to go right to Grindhouse. That's pretty good. He's gonna
I'm looking
like
at the
that.
menu right now. I just want to see what we're getting into here.
So next time you go in there, if I'll tell Al to go in there. That's my buddy. He started.
You gotta, you gotta connect us.
I will make sure. I'll get your information. Make sure I get
look
it to
at
Albie.
this. It's kind of a little
Grindhouse
bit of like
killer burgers. They're killer burgers.
killer
by the way.
burgers.
Yeah, it looks like for those who aren't in the Atlanta area, the Athens area, and you're around. It looks like the fries and the burger look a little bit like a Shake Shack type situation.
Yes, but it is.
You want to be smirched,
It's elite.
but yeah, it's fantastic.
This is an
Everybody
elite
wins.
performance. They always have some crazy old movies going on in there. It's a good spot. So
it's good.
That's good. Have you found anything in Cleveland that has become your Grindhouse of Cleveland?
I have not.
You have not.
Nah, yeah. I like Hyde Park a lot.
Okay. Well,
That's
Naturally.
steak.
who doesn't like a good steak? Yeah,
Naturally, sir.
Indeed.
You played in a lot of really, really big games in college, obviously. Steelers week, playing over there, getting the start. As you prepare for that and understand what it means to play over there, what's going through the mind this week on game week?
Just approach it like a regular week. It's definitely a big game because it's the next game. So, just for me, young guy, just approaching it like I always have. Make sure I'm prepared and watching film, physically, mentally, everything prepared, and go in there and just play hard like I always do.
Is it an adjustment? This is going to be your 8th straight game in the NFL, and I realize you haven't been carrying the load for all 8 of those games. But you think of college season, you're getting towards the end. You're going to play this one, then you're going to play 2 more before you get a break, and then you still have 6 more to come after that. Does the season feel much longer?
It does. It does. Just thinking, it doesn't feel long now, but thinking we not even at the midway
not even halfway
point,
there.
Then you start thinking like, man, we have a lot more games left, and not to mention, I play all preseason games and including playoffs. Yeah, it's a long season.
We'll get you out of here on this one.
We want it to be even longer, by the way.
We do, yeah. We'll get you out of here on this. One table left at Grindhouse. You, Sony,
Isaiah Wynn.
Todd, all show up at the same time. Who gets the table?
How many seats at the table?
One. There's one left. One table left. Y'all bring your lady friends. You get one seat. You're not eating together. You got to eat solo.
I'm gonna
A
answer
decision
this
has
for
to
you
be made
because
you, Todd, Sony walk in.
We'll probably give it to Todd.
I don't think so. You're his guy. I mean,
You're his guy.
The owner,
The
founder
owner's
of
friend. That's
Grindhouse
true.
said, I told him I was talking to you. He said, next time you talk to Nick Chubb, let me know. I said, we're having him this week. He goes, you have to ask him at Grindhouse. So and you just put him
take
over
that, Todd.
huge. So, yeah, you can walk in there. Todd Gurley, you're going to need to wait your
Todd,
turn.
you're on the outside.
That's right.
You guys can produce some running backs at Georgia.
Yeah, you
A
think?
little bit of talent.
we got more coming.
More coming. Yeah, the kid they got now is nice. You got a lot of, it's pretty incredible. We're glad you're
factory.
here, buddy.
Yes,
We're glad
appreciate
you're here.
it. Thank
Thanks
you.
for stopping by, my friend.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. That's Nick Chubb.
Thanks for having me.
If you're going to go see the Browns at First Energy Stadium, now with Park Mobile, you can easily reserve a parking spot before you head to the game. Drive right to the lot of a guaranteed spot waiting for you. Just make a parking reservation on clevelandbrowns.parkmobile.io website. That's clevelandbrowns.parkmobile.io. Find your game, select your lot, reserve your spot. Discover a smarter way to park for Cleveland Browns games at First Energy Stadium. Visit clevelandbrowns.parkmobile.io. Coming up next, we go behind enemy lines. Touch Ilkin, Steelers color analyst, will join us. CBD on 850 WKNR.
Jack Thistledown Racino is giving
3 minutes, guys.
Jack members the opportunity. right?
You're right. I'll get the espresso machine.
Ford Explorer. There's just room for more. Ford, proud partner of the Cleveland Browns.
University Hospital.
That was the most.
To your health.
There was there.
As the largest healthcare network in the region, we're happy to accept every major.
Cleveland. Let us earn your trust. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio. Elk and Elk, proud partner of the Cleveland Browns.
High school football returns to First Energy Stadium Friday night at 7 p.m. as the St. Ignatius Wild
is ready. Punch.
For the 56th time in their historic rivalry. Playoff seedings are at stake in this huge Week 10 matchup, but it's all about bragging rights. Tickets are just $10 and can be purchased at clevelandbrowns.com. Brought to you by the Lake Erie College of
Bo, I think you're going to be jealous of the tweet I'm about to send here in a second.
Oh, God.
Get your tickets now at clevelandbrowns.com.
You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on ESPN 850 WKNR.
You guys are up.
Watershed Distillery raised out of commitment to community and the courage of forging one's own path. Owners Dave and Greg quit their jobs, swapped out their suits for jeans and T-shirts, started distilling Watershed vodka, handmade by the home team right here in Ohio, available throughout Cleveland. We now go to the Hot Seat Hotline, presented by Value City Furniture. Come on, check us out. You'll love what you see. Tunch Ilkin joining us, sideline reporter on the Steelers Radio Network, of course, former Steelers great. Tunch, before we get into this year's breakdown and all of that, we were talking a little bit about the rivalry and what it used to be and how, we've got to do our part to make it that again. What was Steelers-Browns to you when you played?
Oh, man, it was intense. I remember my rookie year. I'm walking out on the field for the first time at the old Cleveland Stadium, and as soon as we came out, man, the fans were booing us. It's 1980. I loved the old Cleveland Stadium. It reeked of history. It also kind of reeked of urine, if you guys remember, because of the piping. And then we walked out on the field, and this was before the dog pound was the dog pound. And I remember I was doing one-on-ones with Dwight White, and the fans were just so intense and so hateful. And I was going, man, these guys really don't like us here. And it was just it was a very intense rivalry. And every year, I remember when. Frank Mayfield and Hanford Dixon and Eddie Johnson started the barking, and that turned into the dog pound, and then the dog biscuits would come flying out of the dog pound during the course of the game. It was just not to sound cliche, but it was dog eat dog, and it was a great rivalry, and it was very intense, and it was a lot of fun.
When you look at this Steelers team, and we took a look. 2003, the last time the Browns beat them in Pittsburgh, so the rivalry not quite what it was in your heyday, obviously. How is it still regarded? Is this game regarded, as a layup in the sense that it really has been for 15 straight years at Heinz Field?
Just based on the way they're working, I don't believe it's a layup by any means. I'm watching practice, and they're getting after it, and you hear Coach Tomlin say, "Hey, man, we got to get ready. We got to be ready. We could, And so I don't think it is. I mean, you look at your defense, and you can't say it's a layup because you've got some great players on that defense. They fly to the ball, very, very aggressive, very intense. So you've got to be ready to play, especially if you're an offensive lineman coming into this game. You've got to be ready to play. You can't take the Cleveland Browns lightly. And what I've seen offensively by Baker Mayfield and also Nick Chubb, you guys got some talent on that offensive side, and if the Steelers are not ready to play, it could get ugly.
When you think about Game 1 ending in that tie, a very unsatisfying outcome to an NFL game where nobody feels good about it at the end, which is why I think they should figure out a way to eliminate those outcomes. What's the biggest difference in the Steelers team that the Browns will see on Sunday from the team that they saw in Week 1?
I don't think they saw a team in Week 1 that was firing on all cylinders. I mean, early in the season, the Steelers were struggling on both sides of the ball. We were expecting the defense to be in a work in progress, but we weren't expecting the offense. So obviously the 6 turnovers was horrendous, and it has taken Ben and Antonio Brown to kind of get on the same page into the last couple of weeks, because I think neither one of them practiced a lot. AB was hurt during training camp, and you know how it is in preseason today. It's a lot different than in my day, where you'd play a lot in preseason, and by the last preseason game, you played 3 quarters. Well, today, and I understand the reason why, they're worried about injuries. They don't want your starters to play too much. Well, there are consequences to that, and one of the consequences is not everybody's on the same page. You don't get into a rhythm. You don't develop that continuity.
Yep.
So I think the Steelers have finally gotten there, whether it's Antonio Brown and Ben, or whether it's Vance McDonald and Juju, now the offense is starting to fire on all cylinders.
Tunch, I wondered if they would. If the Le'Veon Bell stuff would derail a season. You wondered in camp. And I remember we were doing the show in the lead up to the opener, and there was talk that maybe he would just show up on Friday of that first week, and he's still not there. And we don't know. I mean, you would know more than us, but we don't know if he ever will be or what the situation is. How have they kept it together and rallied? I mean, they got a ton of talent, obviously, but how have you guys kept it together and got to a point where it appears, from at least from our vantage point, that everybody's walking step in step at this point?
Well, Mike is great. Mike Tomlin is great about saying, okay, and most coaches are like this. Chuck was like this. We're not worrying about who's not here. We're going to worry about who is here, and we're going to proceed accordingly. Now, it helps that James Conner is a pretty darn good running back and is getting better and better every week. But I will tell you this. We've been playing Where's Waldo here since the first
I'm
week.
sure.
It's crazy.
Hey, when's he showing up? When's he going to come? And the ESPN broke the story that he was going to be here the bye week. So last week, we're all looking around, and every time we come to the facility to do our show, is Lev here? And he's not. So from a standpoint of when is he coming? I've been hearing rumors all along, and none of them were true. So when I heard that he's not going to come till Week 10, maybe that's going to be the truest rumor that we all hear, because he's got to come in to become a free agent next year, and so we'll see what happens next.
It is an interesting saga for this team, and you talk about guys kind of becoming stars before your eyes. James Conner is one, but I'm going to go to the wide receiver. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is playing some of the best receiver in the NFL and forms maybe the most dangerous duo in the league alongside Antonio Brown. What have you seen from him in terms of his ascension here in his second year? Because Juju just seems to make plays every single Sunday.
Juju is a great student of the game. He understands coverages. He understands route trees. He understands conceptually what we're trying to do offensively and what their opponents are doing defensively. And the thing about Juju is he's hungry. He came in this year and he looks stronger. He looks thicker. He's not built like a wide receiver. He's built more like a running back. It kind of reminds me of Anquan Bolden. And he plays very, very physical, and he loves the block. He's not shy about mixing it up, whether it's a linebacker, safety, whatever. He's an aggressive young man, and so that's why there's a growth spurt that happens between the end of your rookie year and the beginning of your second year. There's something that, it's almost like a light bulb comes on or the game comes more into focus. Well, you can see that in Juju, and he had such a terrific second half of his rookie year that he had a lot, he was already on a roll, and he's really done a great job. People were wondering, is there going to be a sophomore slump? I said, there's no way. This kid is too intense. This kid wants it too much. He's too hungry. And so, to your point, you're right. I think he is a tremendous receiver, and all he does is make plays. And now, with AB and Ben getting on the same page, I think the offense is going to become what we thought it was going to be early in the year.
If you look at this team and you say to yourself, we think that's, there are only a handful of teams that have a chance, obviously, to win the Super Bowl. The Steelers, whenever you have the talent they have, they are one of them. But as we know, these windows for such things can be very fleeting in the NFL with what's expected to be the busiest trade deadline, maybe in NFL history. We've already seen a number of big moves made. Do you think the Steelers are a team that is going to be active before Tuesday and making a move maybe to try to help the back end of this defense?
I don't really see it now. I could be surprised, but I don't see it. That's just not the way they do things. The Steelers have traditionally, going all the way back to when Chuck took over in 1969, they have been a let's build by the draft.
Yep.
And that's been their mantra. And, when it went from Art Rooney Jr. As running the personnel department to Tom Donahoe, and then to Kevin Colbert, they've kept the same philosophy: build through the draft, develop your young players, and I think that's what's going to happen this year. I don't see them. There's rumors galore about Patrick Peterson, and people are going, yeah, man, we should get Patrick Peterson, and I wouldn't be against that, but. If I'm the Arizona Cardinals, and you've heard what the voice coming out of Arizona, we don't want to get rid of Patrick Peterson. But even if they were to, they're going to ask for a king's ransom, and I don't believe, just based on what I've seen from the Steelers in my almost 40 years of being part of this organization, is they don't do that. They're not going to get in a bidding war with anybody for anyone's services. And and plus we got one shutdown corner. Thank you very much, the Cleveland Browns,
and a fine guy and a good dude.
Yeah, he has been what a great addition to our football team, and he's a great young man. He just works his butt off. I'm just so excited about him. So we got the shutdown guy on one side, and I think. I'm not worried about the other side. I think you can rotate guys around, and let one of those guys. I mean, you see Cody. We've got Cody Sensabaugh, we've got Artie Burns, and we've got Cam Sutton. All those three guys have had a shot at it. So we're still waiting for the one guy to jump up and grasp the golden ring, or the brass ring rather, and see what happens.
Tunch, this was great. Thank you so much for your time, buddy.
Oh, it's great being on with you guys. To me, Cleveland holds a very special place in football games, and so this is going to be fun. I always look forward to, and I always look forward to seeing Deeks out there. We always have a good laugh when I'm with Doug.
He's right. He's just about ready to walk in our studio, so that's an appropriate segue. Good job out of you, buddy.
That's right.
Tell Deeks I said hello.
We will do that. Very good. Tunch Elkin, thank you so much for taking the time. As he mentioned, Deke is up next. CareSource, though, individual and family health insurance. With health insurance from CareSource, you're not just covered, you're covered with kindness. Doug Dieken up next. Browns Table Time, CBD 850 WKNR.
Fall special sales event going on right now at Mentor Kia. Hi, everybody. It's Jeff Suka. We're making it easy for you to drive away in your new Kia from Mentor Kia.
Jeez.
Huge incentives on our most
Oh, we didn't know this.
$3,500 in rebates on all 2018 Optima,
right.
and $3,000 on 2018 Kia Sportage.
You all right, buddy?
A new 2018 Kia Forte LX for only $119 a month, plus tax, title, and fees for 24 months, 12,000 miles per year with only $14.95 to its signing. Nobody does it better than Mentor Kia. 9090 Mentor Avenue, online at MentorKia.com.
Rebates through KNF. See dealer for complete details. No security deposit required. Ends 10/31/18. Today, you want to walk, run, lift, or maybe quite simply, just move better. And you want to do it free from joint pain. Cleveland Clinic wants to help. With the #1 orthopedic and rheumatologic care in Ohio, we can help get you back to living the active life you want to live quickly and often without surgery. And with same-day appointments, you have access to the best care today. Find your way to the best care at clevelandclinic.org.
That's the first time I've done radio with him. He's great. He's really great.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. Stock up and save this fall at your neighborhood Ace. When you're taking care of everyday projects around your house, Ace is your one-stop shop to find exactly what you're looking for. Get great deals now through October 29th, like buy one, get one free on select LED light bulbs, buy one, get one free on Ace basic house keys, and buy two, get one free on Ace furnace filters. Only at your local Ace, the helpful place. Offers valid at participating stores. Exclusions and limits may apply. See store for details.
Hi, gang, Riz here, and it's officially football season. How great is that? It feels good, doesn't it? And that means fall is coming. And you know change of season means change of weather. It means kids back in school, maybe some more germs flying around. What is your plan of attack? You know where I'm going. It's a great time for you to try all-natural bee pollen from Joby. 7-month supply, $99, and the shipping's free. Try it. Try it today. 877-300-5632 or online, JOEBEES.com.
Introducing a fast, heavy-hauling utility task vehicle from Kubota. The new Kubota RTV XG850 at ABC Equipment in Brunswick and Avon. Confidently take on any task or terrain with comfortable and capable features. The speed to get there fast and a payload capacity of 1,000 pounds. Right now, get 0 down, 0% APR for up to 36 months. Now through December 31st, 2018. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information. ABC Equipment is Kubota of Cleveland. See them at abcequipment.com.
Ohio Reading Corps, an AmeriCorps program, needs you to help shape the future of the younger generation. Build strong readers in Northeast Ohio by volunteering for the Ohio Reading Corps. 18 years or older may apply. Make a difference in your community. Register today at orck3.com.
Hey, Golick here for Skoda Minotti. Do you wonder what it would be like if all your business advisors were under one roof, working together to help your business grow in ways you never imagined? At Northeast Ohio's top business advisory firm, they'll work with you to solve your specific issue, whether you want to buy or sell a business, better prepare your employees for retirement, or develop a strategic business plan. They deliver on the promise of helping your business grow. Visit SkodaMinotti.com to learn more. That's SkodaMinotti.com.
She's done.
This is Baker Mayfield, and you're listening to the home of the Browns.
She won.
ESPN 850, WKNR.
All right, guys, and we can take this all the way to 2 o'clock.
I think we want to be back because Todd's 2, so I'll probably take it to
break about 54 then.
54. Yeah.
Yep.
ANR.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
You're up.
Browns fans, join us Sunday, Value City Furniture in Brook Park to watch the Browns beat the Steelers. Get there early to meet former Browns wide receiver Reggie Langhorne. The first 20 people in attendance get free Browns commemorative poster, plus enjoy snacks, drinks, and more. At halftime, Value City will be giving away 10 pairs of Browns tickets for an upcoming game and a $500 gift card. The fun starts at 12:30 this Sunday at our VCF location at 7500 Brook Park Road. This is a real pleasure. This is one of my favorite things we do. It's probably my favorite thing we do every week. We're joined by the voices, the Browns table. Jim Donovan, Doug Dieken in. Well, here we go, Steelers Week again. We did this for the opener, and here we are back on Steelers Week. There has been, guys, one thing the theme that I keep hitting, Jimmy, this week is that for the first time in a couple of years, the Browns are now welcome to the NFL, right? That this is what the NFL is, that most games are decided by 3 or 6 points. Most are decided by a missed kick or a missed field goal. Most are decided by maybe a call that doesn't go your way. We've been in every game but one, and there's little things that haven't worked out in all of them, but this is the NFL. And so it feels like welcome to the NFL for the Cleveland Browns to me.
Yeah, it really is. It's and to be in these games every week, you don't like getting blown out. There's no doubt about that. Okay, not being competitive, it's a horrible feeling, and we've had that. But being in these games and being so close and able to win all of them, and not getting them or just getting the one game against the Raiders, that even is a little bit tougher, I think, sometimes. So it's a hard lesson to learn. Once we get past it, it will be great when this becomes more of a regular thing that we're in these games and we pull some of them out.
Do you think that, because there's been there feels like at times there's a little bit of lashing out that happens this year because you feel like wins are there and they're slipping away, and I think that leads to emotion and anger a little bit. And maybe even some of Hugh's comments on Sunday where he said on Monday that he wishes he maybe, the emotions got the best of him.
Yeah, you know what I think it is? I think it's the sameness of the loss. It looks the same and it feels the same.
You can feel it coming a mile away.
Yeah, and you can feel it coming. You're exactly right. I mean, when they go out for the coin flip in overtime, unfortunately, there's a feeling of why are we doing this? But I think it's the repetitiveness of the losses and how they come. It's the same way. You're right there. Yeah. You even have opportunities to win the game in the extra session, and you don't do it. And I think that becomes. I think it's frustration.
I agree. I mean, in terms of the sameness of it, we've even added a new wrinkle where we get the turnover in overtime that's supposed to guarantee that you win the game, only to then go on and find a way to not win the game. The Browns obviously looking for their first win in Pittsburgh since 2003. Wow. They have an opportunity, though. Not only if they win this game will they end that streak, this will be the first time since the Browns have come back in 1999 that they will be able to go undefeated against the Steelers in a season if they win.
I remember that Sunday night, Deke. The Browns came out. They looked like they were Clemson that night, the way they were dressed.
33-13.
Orange pants.
Couch. Oh, yeah.
They had orange pants. It was a Sunday night game.
Yeah.
And Tim Couch played like he was never touched and running around for the University of Kentucky with, who's the guy? Hal Mummy? Wasn't that the guy that? Hal Mummy and Mike Leach's
that
wristband.
Air Raid.
Yeah. And he was, I can never remember Couch being any better than he was that night in Pittsburgh. He was amazing.
That was his best memory when we asked him when we had him.
He ran for a touchdown. He threw for touchdowns.
He's holding the ball up.
I remember who he threw the touchdown pass to in the end zone. Was it?
I can't remember that. Yeah. But I just remember him running in. It was like RPO before there was RPO, and he ran the ball in, and from like 10 yards out, you knew he was going in, and he held the ball up in the air. Yeah. It was a great night.
Well, RPO was Kentucky's offense.
There you go. Yeah.
Run, pass, or something other.
Yeah, right.
Tim did all of it, wasn't it? He did
he
every
was
single
amazing
one of those things.
He was really good that night.
Yeah, this is we were talking, at the beginning of the year, you think about what you were thinking about the Steelers, and I remember doing this, and Nathan and I were talking about how you felt like you didn't know if Levy and Bell, remember there was word they was going to show up on Friday night, and he's still not there, and I wondered if maybe that this would be something that would pull them apart. There were those inflammatory comments from the offensive line about his situation, but they seem to have just managed it. I mean, Doug, it's incredible. Like, their culture is so strong that they're just not having it. They're not having it. They ignore it. They play the games. They coach the guys who there, and it's no big. This has truly been. They're now humming. It's kind of been now that they're through it. Almost seems like not as big a deal as for most teams it would have been.
Well, they've always drafted for their defense, and in regards to they run the same defense year after year. So, and when Dick LeBeau was there, you really didn't get to start till maybe your second year. And offensively, they get the three pieces. They get the quarterback, the running back, and the wide receiver. You go back to Bradshaw, Swan, and Franco. It's always been the same thing. And they've drafted very well for their offense and defense in regards to what skill set matches it.
I watched their game against Cincinnati yesterday. I was taking a look at it, and there is a toughness in them because that game blew up on them late with about 1:20 left to go in the game, and they went right down the field and they scored with 10 seconds left to go in the game. That's tough. I mean, they are tough. They really are. And they realize it right now, I think. They were talking about it. They have this stretch. They have the Browns Sunday, and then they're pointing towards Baltimore the next week. They've got a tough schedule. They have to go to Jacksonville. I mean, they got some tough games. New England comes to them. But I don't know. There's something about them, and that's what I think we hope to achieve.
Yeah.
Okay, that we can get into that kind of game because we're in those, and they pull it out.
And you watch that game, especially Cincinnati, you realize they have three guys, and I think Connor's starting to get there because he's playing well, but that between Ben, he can throw it to Brown or Juju, and they will make the play that needs to be made in the moment that it needs to be made. And I think that's what's separating the Browns. We saw Jarvis do it, and I thought that was huge, whether he extended the ball for the touchdown, but you still couldn't get it done in overtime. And I think that's the fine line in the NFL now, especially with the way the Browns are playing. It's the guys that have that clutch meter that make those plays in those moments. And I think Juju's ascension I'm putting him on the same level as Antonio Brown in terms of superstardom, I think is huge for that offense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when you have two guys that can be a difference maker, and the fact that the offensive, Ben gets rid of the ball. He's only been sacked, I think, 9 times all season, which is pretty good. He's had a couple big passing days. I mean, he's up there. He had one at 400 for the record time, but he's the guy that makes it go.
Boy, their tight ends are really good now, too.
Always
I'm
have
telling
good
you,
tight. They do.
Vance McDonald's playing well.
Yeah.
Jesse James we know him, of course. I don't know if Grimble's going to play. He had a concussion. He was out of practice yesterday, but they find those tight ends too.
And they each have, I think, exactly 274 yards. But when you add that up, you're at,
There you
548 in 6 games. They're getting 90 yards a game out of the tight end position, in addition to what you're getting out of Juju and Le'Veon. And,
even if you play really well defensively, they're going to get theirs. They're going to get points. So then the question becomes, can we keep pace? And then you have to wonder about what we saw in the second half against, because I was actually pretty concerned about the first half with Baker. He didn't look like normal Baker to me. He looked hesitant. Looked like everything was kind of underneath. He didn't. When he first came in the first couple of games, the ball was out and it was down the field. And it was in the seam. He was fearless. And then it seemed like to me like he was overthinking things in the first half. What did you guys assess from what you saw from Baker and the way – because his second half was pretty great other than not being able to put it in overtime.
Well, I think one of the problems has been pass protection. They've been running these TE stunts, and they've kept him in the pocket. And, that's not a real comfortable position when you get a push up the middle. So I think there's been people in his face. So that's one of the problems. But the other thing is you don't see the separation with the wide receivers. And, if you're going to get it out quick, you got to beat the guy off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are eyeing next Tuesday and saying, are the Browns going to bring in a receiver for him to help out their young quarterback? Do you guys think that is likely, unlikely?
Well, I don't know. Nathan, I just keep looking and saying to myself, I don't know. If they make a trade, it's got to be more. It's got to be more than just for now. There's got to be a future to the trade. I don't think it's like you're renting a guy. I think it's you're looking down the road and saying, yeah, this guy's here, and we're going to have him for 8 games for the rest of the season, and that's going to help Baker out and Landry out and people like that in the entire offense. But he's got to fit next year too, and I'm wondering, is that guy out there? Because I think the future. I think John Dorsey is still saying, okay, we have this season, but I think they're really looking to load up even more for next year.
Yeah, because Demaryius Thomas is more of a now. Maybe he has another good
30,
year in him.
Yeah,
But he probably has another good year in him. But
his size is such that maybe he could overcome the loss of half a step, because he's
Devontae Parker interests me, though. That's a guy. There's clearly chaos going on with him in Miami.
Right. But you really need somebody to stretch the field so Jarvis can operate underneath.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's been a problem. You take Jarvis out of the game, then all of a sudden there's 15 targets where the other next 4 guys are getting 15 total.
I would really like to see Callaway just get a little bit more full game-itis, where he's involved more. And I don't know where it is, but there are just big chunks of the game where he's not there.
You thought he was going to take off after the catch against the Saints.
Yeah, he had the one play where he got deep against Oakland and Baker missed him, and maybe that would have catapulted him. But he's
But even the Raiders game, they kind of overloaded the plate there. And then since then, they've just kind of brought it back. But you got to remember how little football this guy has played. Much like Desmond Harrison. I mean, there's 2 key components of your offense and very raw in experience.
We've been talking about it. You've got 4 rookies starting at critical positions now on offense. And I think people, there's a side that we want more from the offense. And obviously the first quarter's got to improve. We know that. But Todd Haley is dealing, like we said, 4 rookies, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, left tackle, all pretty important positions. Not only that, this team, 7 games into the year, is not playing with the quarterback who started for him week 1, their bell cow running back for the majority of the season, or the guy that was supposed to be their number 1 receiver, Josh Gordon. You've transformed everybody who's supposed to be touching the football for you in 7 weeks.
Well, basically you got 7 new starters on offense.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. And you want to see the quicker starts. And hopefully they can figure out a way to get it going, because that's, I think, what's frustrating to a lot of people as well. Is you saw the second half, you said, well, why didn't we just do this all game?
Some of that has to do with the defense being played and that type of stuff.
You're down 14, they're going to be a little bit.
It's and I think a lot of it is self-inflicted on these early drives. I mean, they get behind that chain, and they're way behind. And people keep saying, well, they're scripted. Yeah, but they go off script when they're 1st and 20 after a holding call or a an illegal shift penalty. And that seems to be prevalent. I think if you went inside that, there's a lot of Browns miscues that hurt them, and they get behind it. And then the next thing you know, they're in a 3rd down. They're just trying to get yards for Colquitt to punt.
Because one of the trends we've also seen, and Warren Sharp from Sharp Football talked about it, you mentioned it, is you get behind the sticks, you throw an incompletion, or you're 2nd and 10, we run it a lot on 2nd down in those situations and end up in a lot of 3rd and longs.
Yeah.
But the other thing is they've got to get better points off the turnovers. I mean, the
Yes,
defense is
20 turnovers.
What is it? They're averaging like a little over
basically 1.5.
Yeah.
Because you have 32 points off 20 turnovers, which is not enough. And
No.
I mean, and one of the things we were talking about, the biggest difference with Baker is at Oklahoma, if he gets a turnover at the 45-yard line, he's going to win. The game's over.
Yeah.
It's good night, Irene.
Right.
And I think that's where we need to get over the hump. And we're so close to this being a totally different discussion than it is right now.
Yeah, but also when you say that, what he had at Oklahoma, he also had superior players around him against 99% of the teams they played.
Inferior players, right.
Well, no, superior to the guys they're going against.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. He's
Yes.
not. He wasn't throwing to the equivalent of Antonio Callaway. Was not the receiver. He was throwing to a guy who's equivalent of Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, that's the guy he had. Like, he always was in the better position.
Right.
He's in the position that that Roethlisberger was in last week. He's that role. This is a different thing.
Yeah, Bo, he became more of the Oklahoma
That's what I thought.
Baker in the second half
Absolutely.
of the game the other day. And I like that. I thought, he was fun to watch. I have to tell you, that was great. I always look forward to seeing him play, but this will be very interesting over here because this is different, Nathan and Deke, when we've gone over here the last 2 or 3 years, because they've had everything decided when we've gone over there, and so they've played their junior varsity.
Yeah.
So we're going to get the varsity Sunday,
Yeah.
and they need the game. They need it badly, okay? They're at the top of the division, but it's very fluid there, and I'm interested to see how he's going to react to that atmosphere over there. He normally reacts to this kind of atmosphere pretty good. I think he'll be very excited to play.
I think he's going to be thrilled.
Yeah.
First time, to your point, this is the first time since 2014, which when we played him week 1 that year, that Ben started the game for the Steelers. Because 15, remember, it was Landry Jones, and we hurt him.
Yeah, he went down. Yeah.
And then Ben came in and threw for 800 yards against us.
Gentlemen, this is always a pleasure.
801, I think. You're just off a tick.
Yeah.
My favorite segment of the week. Thank you guys for
Thanks,
coming
guys.
in, as always.
Browns.
All right. Coming up next, Todd Haley at the mic, CBD 850 WKNR.
Thanks, guys.
Right
That's
now
fun,
at Lowe's,
guys.
you
Love
can
that.
save on the supplies you need most from the brands you trust to help you get the job done on time and on budget. Visit Lowe'sForPros.com for details.
It's our annual 000 sales event going on right now at Mentor Mitsubishi. Hi, everybody. It's Jeff Sukup. Get 0% APR